There isn't a start.
Yeah, there is.
You know, you can't start this because it doesn't start, go on, and then end.
Yeah.
Non-dualism is just what is, which is not continuous, but it just is what it is. That's the mystery.
Yeah.
In a way, of course, there's nothing to say. There isn't anything to say. Whatever this is now is bullshit, because it's words trying to talk about something that is a mystery and it is beyond words.
I totally get where they're coming from, and there's something here that can sort of say that. It's like I could almost go, it is, no it's not. It is, no it's not. Because there's something that it's in a way, it sort of touches on that area of knowing in a way, but it totally is, it never comes down to knowing.
You know, like I think the closest, if you could say the closest you'd come to it in words is, for me would be to say that this is it, really, which isn't close at all. It's just more words again, and it's but like this, it really is a sense that this is it. I mean, that whatever appears to be happening is it.
The only thing that words can do is to somehow disentangle the words that you create or the beliefs you create about you being a real person in a real story. That's all that the words can do. They untangle something in the belief system. But basically this is energetic, this is about energy, and is completely wordless.
And there's an energy to it that is just remarkable. It's nobody's energy. It's just indescribable, it's phenomenal. It's not personal. It's not a personal energy. Which when the person who's seeking comes in and looks, can often find then that clear communication extremely confronting.
It's not pleasing, it's not to make you feel good. It doesn't recognize you as something real.
Because it's already known. It's not quite the right word, but it's already known. When the I falls away, when it's recognized that nothing's happening, this is everything, at the same moment it's recognized it was always obvious. It's absolutely obvious. So not only is it unbelievable, unknowable, it's also undeniable. It's also absolutely obvious.
Yeah.
This is the whole dream. I've got to be here. Me has to be here to get through life. But the irony of that is that me's never got through life. It's an illusory energy which thinks it's in control and can get through life. There isn't a life to get through. There's just aliveness. There isn't any way to get to. I think this is the great fear of this message, and that is that you think you're going to lose the control, but it's a control you never had.
Until there's a falling, and see, this is the cruel part of it. You're talking about something that doesn't even happen. I mean, the falling away of the me doesn't even happen, because if the me is an appearance, the apparent set is an appearance to begin with, then when it falls away, it's seen that it was never there to begin with anyway.
Yeah.
And then there is only what is then.
In a way, it's not that some beliefs gets threatened or some things the apparent me works on. It's mere existence that gets threatened. Reality itself gets threatened because there isn't a reality, or there isn't something real, including I am. So energetically it's about the death of that energy, and that is how it can feel. Seen from the apparent me, it's pretty existential.
Yeah.
In a way it isn't, because this existence is illusory, but within the dream of I am, it's real. Existence. It's all me knows. And not knowing in an intellectual way, but that's its sense.
Yeah.
Being present as something separate.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is in a way that gets threatened.
This is essentially something that the self doesn't want to hear. It wants to run as far away as possible.
What's actually being looked for by the apparently separate person, what's really being looked for, you don't want it. Because what you're looking for is your own absence.
And on top of just everything being what it is, there's this sense of separation that comes in and puts names and labels and story and time into it as real. And misses completely everything is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's still what is. It's still what's happening. It's still that. And when that need for it to be something else, or the experience that it's not enough, falls away, what is still what is, as it always was.
Because in a way, the one who feels separate and wants to approach us only consists of the sense of being separate. So it won't come closer than just being very close, which is a story.
Yeah.
So within its experience, it can only stay separate, because that's all it does, to experience itself as separate. But in the end, the separation is illusory. So every approach is illusory too. And finding the core, finding the one question that, it's not really about the question, it's about getting the one and only answer. The one answer that clears everything up for me.
Yeah.
From that point on, I know. And in a way, that is what the me seeks, points. Or it seeks that point on which it can say, now I got it.
Yeah.
Or now I'm happy.
Yeah.
Or
I have that,
yeah.
I have that now.
now that's it, forever, from that point on.
Yeah.
But there are no points. There isn't a real happening. There isn't really something going on in time. And but that's what me looks for, personal salvation in a way. Like, now I got it.
Like somebody says, there's nothing I can do, and I say to them, no, it's not that there's nothing you can do, it's far worse than that. There's no you. You know, the whole idea you can't do anything sort of implies there is a real you there that now can't do anything. It's got nothing to do with you at all. There is no you.
And the funny thing is, it's just something coming out, but there might be somebody that says, oh, I just thought of that. Oh, I will say that. Oh, I won't say that.
Yeah.
And I'm in here making that decision.
Yeah, in and out.
That's
true,
the illusion.
Yeah.
Because nobody's in there doing that.
Yeah.
It's just what's happening. Nobody's making a choice. And then there's something that comes in and says, oh, I did that. I'm doing that.
Yeah.
There is only what appears to be happening. So whatever that is, it's just everything just appears in that story then. And then when other people talk, you can hear that they feel that they're in there. They're somewhere in there in the body, and they're controlling everything, and they're making stuff happening. And
Yeah.
there's nothing actually happening at all. This is nothing appearing to happen. But it's very obvious that there is only what is, and that if that was there, this is wholeness and oneness, right, or whatever you want to call it, or energy. And that there's an artificial addition there, maybe, that there is a person called Frank or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's very obvious that's a total story. So then that's just something that is appearing to happen also. So there's no agenda to try and change that, or to try and, but there can be a passion about the message that's just shared, and then it's heard as it's heard.
Mm.
But the person sees it as some sort of complex thing, that you're talking about some complex thing that I need to get to some state, or you're speaking from somewhere, and it's endless. It goes on and on. There's all sorts of projections and and in fact it's just so ridiculously, ordinarily just what is. And it would be a loss of an apparent person here, more than, instead of me having gotten something, maybe something has been lost here, and in that loss, apparent loss, is everything is seen as it is.
There isn't anyone here. Here's life. There's just aliveness. There's a response that comes out, but it doesn't come from anyone. It's completely from no thing. But then that is from no thing also. But that's no thing dreaming that it's something. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's all the difference. It's just a dream. I am something. I am a person. And of course, a lot of people project on in the audience. A lot of people will project onto this
Yeah.
that I am someone with something that's known.
Yeah.
There isn't anyone here that knows anything at all. But there is a projection from the audience. I am someone, so Tony Parsons must be someone.
Yeah.
I've called the the separate sense a straitjacket,
Yeah.
because that's what it is. It puts this explosion of everything into a straitjacket of what should and shouldn't be. That's the story of me, is the straitjacket. And it tries to, it's in a way, it's pretty sad, because it's trying to find what it feels like it missed through all these rules and regulations and ways to be and ways you shouldn't be, and what's a good way to be and what's a bad way to be. And so judging people is one way of fitting into my story. So I'm judging them because the way they live their story, what they're doing, doesn't fit into what I think is going to fulfill this story. And then I try to make what's right in my story, whether it even goes against the way I feel or not. It's this straitjacket.
Yeah.
They're trying to make it right, trying to get it right.
Yeah.
Because if I get it right, I'll find what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say anything about it. I would just say it just is like this.
Yeah.
But there is no separate entity or no separate instance recognizing this. One could go that far. It's impossible to describe in the end. One could say this recognition too is what happens. So the recognition itself is illusory too. There isn't a real recognition that this is everything. It is just everything.
What's being suggested is energetic, in the sense that the sense of me is an embodied, energetic, embodied, contracted, it's contraction. It's an energetic contraction in the body. It's not an idea that I'm a me.
Yeah.
It's a lived reality. Of course, it's like your friend this morning, you're explaining this to him. He doesn't even, what are you talking about? I mean,
It's the one that everybody wants to get away from, but also is fascinated by.
Yeah.
Because of course, what's fascinating about it is that it offers them nothing. It doesn't offer anything to the seeker, but also it doesn't have any expectation. There's no demand that you should be a certain way. It's not even a recognition that you exist as a real person. That's amazing. It's so rare to come across that. You could go to 1 million teachers or hundreds of teachers, and as far as they're concerned, they are real and you are real, and they've got something to teach you to get somewhere. This is completely and utterly different. There's no recognition of anyone, and it comes out of the sense that there isn't anything to learn or anywhere to go. That's amazing. Very rare.
It's outrageous.
It's wonderfully outrageous. The other thing I'd love saying to people, people who try to work it out, this message doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I hope you realise that. This message doesn't make sense. And this message, as far as the individual is concerned, is completely and utterly and wonderfully useless.
It's not replaced by someone who can enjoy them. It's not replaced by someone who has arrived.
Yeah.
It's just the end of that dream, which isn't replaced by anything. And the miracle is that what's left then all of a sudden is whole and complete, which in a way it always was. But for no one. It's not dead then, in that sense. But it's uncomprehendable. It's not alive. It's not anything. It's not something. It's not anything. It's just... We're still talking about this. By the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just this, right?
Yeah.
It's not somewhere else. There's nothing needs to happen. It's nothing that needs to be found. It's already this. So it's not somewhere else that needs to be brought about. There's nothing that needs
What
to
is
happen.
already this?
What's
is?
looked for?
What's
This.
looked for?
What is? This is it. This. Exactly as it is. That's what the separate sense can't get, because it always needs something else. But exactly, even the sense that this isn't it, is it. This is it. Exactly as it is.
See, it's a flatliner, isn't it? Sometimes
It's a total flatliner. I thought that when I said it, I thought, well, that's a conversation killer.
So confronting to someone to hear that this is it, that this is what they're looking for. They hate it above all things.
Yeah.
To hear that this is actually it. It's actually just simply this, and there's a huge disappointment in that for the person, because you're living in a hopeful energy of something to come around the corner, something better around the corner. So to hear that it's just this, I mean, that's pretty shit, really.
Well, it is when you hear about everything. When you hear about enlightenment and chakras and all that magic.
It's very misleading. All of that's very spirituality is very misleading. It is what it is as well. I'm not saying it's bad or good. It just is what it is. But it's obviously another thing for the person to do, and another way to feed the person.
Yeah.
Is to be a spiritual self, or to be,
But of course, the other thing about it is there is no such thing as enlightenment or liberation or seeking or separation. They're simply appearances. They have no validity at all of any kind. That's the other thing that this does. It destroys any idea that there's anything important or significant or that has meaning or purpose. It completely destroys that whole life. What you're left with is nothing. If you come to a meeting here and there's a real openness thought, you're left with nothing.
Yeah.
It's so lovely. It's gorgeous.
isness. You are already all that is. You are already what you're seeking. But it's been overlaid by this contracted sense of me, through which everything is then seen. So therefore, life isn't seen as it really is. And that just plays out as it plays out. I mean, there can be no agenda then for it to be seen anywhere, because there's nobody in there to see it. So when it's communicated and someone says, well, I don't believe a word of this actually, and I've been doing meditation for years and I'm going to continue doing meditation, I think you're completely misguided and ignorant or whatever, then that's what's happening. There's no agenda for it. That's just life playing that's just life saying, I think you're misguided, and I think that's what's happening.
Unconditional love, well, in one sense it's everything. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's just everything. The appearance, the whole story, anything that ever has happened, everything that could or would happen is unconditional love, because everything that's apparently happening is what is seeming to happen. And what is unconditional love. And when it's recognized that what is unconditional love, and that what is everything, it's also recognized that anything that happens, that's saying anything that this does, says, anything and everything is that love. And that's amazing release or relief, to recognize that nothing could ever be wrong. Nothing could ever be out of place.
How can there be a way to that which already is? This is actually what people search for. This, what is. So there isn't a way to what is, there just is what is.
Yeah.
It's not something that can be found or got, it already is. The only thing that's in the way of it is that which believes it isn't, which is the seeker. The seeker thinks it's somewhere else. After I've meditated, after I've self-inquired for 3 years, then I'll find it. No, you're sitting on it, you're breathing it, it is this.
Yeah.
That's amazing. There's no search, how can there be a path? How can there be approach to that which already is? It's ridiculous.
Because me thinks that, okay, this may be wholeness, but still something has to happen with me or for me. like, oh, okay, this is wholeness, but now I have to get it. That this is wholeness. That's the dream. It just already is wholeness. Or the unknown, or actually there is no real word for this.
This is the most dangerous thing for the individual.
So when you speak, it sounds like something is known there, different than for me. Seems like there's a different perspective on what's happening.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's exactly the opposite. There's something known there which covers up the reality that there's nothing happening. When there's nothing known, there's nothing happening. See, you told the story before about you coming and all the rest of the things that happened to you. That's what you know.
Yeah.
Without that, there's nothing happening.
Incomprehensible like that,
Yeah,
isn't it?
well, it would have to be. Because if it was comprehensible, it would be in a duality. It would be knowing and known. Knower, known.
It is mental, like, it is mental, it is mental, you know.
Yeah. You see, from this perception, when it kind of appears to happen, I can see how it could be perceived as being mental, but it's not mental at all. I mean, in actuality, the sense of being a person is the insane thing.
Yeah.
It's complete insanity. We're all running around thinking we're in control and we have control over our lives. Where's your life? Where do you have it, like?
It's really the one place you'd never look.
I've heard that before. Say that. See.
It's just the one place you'd never look. It's completely unexpected.
Because you can't look there though.
Exactly.
You fucker!
I didn't make it up.
Don't shoot the messenger!
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Wow.
This is pure anarchy. He doesn't recognise any sort of authority at all, or hierarchy. There's no hierarchy, there's no authority, because all there is this.
That's the reason it's unbelievable, because it's just completely unexpected. It's not logical.
No.
It's not sensical. It's not rational. It's actually illogical, nonsensical.
Nobody knows there's oneness, nobody knows anything. It's the end of that which knows and thinks it's aware. It's the end of awareness.
The individual lives in a loop, a closed loop of knowing. So really what knowing the world is actually a closed loop of just knowing yourself. That's what it is really about. And all knowing is contextual and an abstraction really of what is, you know, of the whole, you could say, you know. So it's again, the individual will, the parent person will try to know, how can I know that it's about unknowing?
Yeah.
How can I know that? How can I own that? Because that's the energy of being a person. Gathered in, I want to know this, I want to have this, I want to. So in that sense, it's very frustrating message.
Well, it's a bit insane as well. Like this, you know, you were kind of saying it's more popular. It isn't really. It is because you're into the subject and you talk about the subject, but in the scheme of what's going on,
in the grand scheme of things, it's totally nuts. Yeah.
I think the thing that in a way is difficult. You can never say it, but in a way it's at the foundation of all this is that what people are looking for is not some spiritual orgasm or anything special or lights or that. It's actually about something totally ordinary, like sitting on a seat or walking out of the room or breathing. It's about something that's completely ordinary and constantly happening. So I'm always saying to people, what you long for is constantly happening to you. Right now, it's happening to you. What you long for is happening to you, like an ache in the arm or feeling warm or having a thought. That's the beloved. That's what you long for. But you can't have it. It's just happening. And your difficulty as a me or a self is that the awareness you think you have keeps everything away. Like people sit on a chair and they're aware of sitting on a chair, and that creates a separation. I am a person in here. that's aware of something else called sitting on a chair. That's how people remain apart. That's the dilemma.
That's the flat line.
That's the flat line there. Yeah. It is. And there's nothing to say about it. And you know, people will say, well, what are you left with if there's no awareness? And nobody can tell you that. I can't tell you that. It's unknowable. It is the unknowable, isness. But it's everything. It isn't some strange thing up in the sky. It's the leaves, this guy here. It's this chair, it's the voice, it's whatever it is. So the beloved is constantly with you. You can't escape from what you long for. It's constantly with you because all there is what is. Isn't that stunning? People rush all over the world, they meditate, they do this chanting thing with apparent gurus, they try to do self-inquiry, and what they don't realise is that where they are and what they are is what it is what they long for. It would be serious and sad if it was important.
Yeah.
It's only important to the seeker. It's not important to this. Nothing's important. There just is what there is.
Why would you want that? In a way, why would me want its absence?
Yeah.
It's not suggested even. Here's not a suggestion for you to be absent. In a way, you are not there already. The absence of me is already is in a way.
It's just mind blowing, really.
Yeah, it
Because
is.
It's just nothing.
But it blows the mind.
Yeah.
Mind will fight with it. The thinking, intellect will try and fight with it, but it can't fight with it because it has nothing to get hold of.
Which in a way is slightly different than say that you have to die. I mean, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Because in a way what's being said is there isn't even anyone to die. This is wholeness, or this is no thing, as it already is. That's the miracle. And in a way that is that me can't access.
There isn't anything that's ever the same. It's alive, and it's instantly alive in that isness.
Well, there is no real progression.
Yeah.
So the sense of I always sees everything as a progression, but there isn't one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So any idea there's something you can do about it, like acceptance or openness or surrender, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
That me doesn't want to surrender or give in. It wants to go on fighting and looking for something. It's at war with itself, so it's always battling on.
That's the cruel joke about it. So, in other words, and what's hiding is not hiding by being obtuse or complex or difficult. Like the person on the mountain meditating. It's just hiding, appearing to hide, but already being everything. It's appearing to hide by just being obviously and ordinarily everything that already is. But then the mind, when you feel like a person, that energy is that it's a rejection of what is in favour of what might be for me. So there's a rejection of what seems to be happening and pushing away what seems to be happening for this movement towards something better all the time.
Mm.
And then it's just that what is life as it really is not then being seen. It's overlaid with this apparent me.
The other thing that's very powerful is that there's obviously no self-consciousness. There's nobody here trying to please anybody or displease anybody. There's nobody here that actually, in a sense, has any investment in what's going on at all. That comes across very powerfully, I think.
Yeah.
What's he about, this guy? Well, he isn't. There isn't anyone.
We are at the beginning. There's nothing to say. There isn't even an issue. There's no real question. There's no real answer. It doesn't lead anywhere. The whole talk, the whole conversation doesn't lead to somewhere else.
What we're discussing here is the possibility that whole construct, that whole sense of being an individual in a dualistic world, that whole sense of being able to do something about making that world better, is a complete illusion.